Carl Wilson. Welcome to Rochester, New York.
Thank you, Dan.
We're very pleased to have you come through here. Of course, our listeners in the glory that was Greece and WVOR are very familiar with the Wilson brothers and the Beach Boys. I think that, you've got Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry, and the Beach Boys are America and American music. And you are a part of that history very much and continue to be so.
Well, it's been, needless to say, it's been quite a experience for me. Kind of a mind blower to, grow up and love that music, and then to be part of it, and then to have us inspire a whole new, set of music. It's been really quite a great experience.
Definitely leading the pack for many years, and I think that the Beach Boys music, as much as anybody else's, the American music has been Beach Boy, and we think, it's summer now, and we think of the Beach Boys as summertime music, although the hits were all year round.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's even the tunes. The Beach Boys don't have a current record out at this time, but every summer, our music goes back on the radio.
That's right.
Which is really neat.
Well, we play your music all year round, and we continue to play the recent things, Lady Linda and Going On, and things of that sort, and our listeners enjoy it very much.
Great.
I think that you have continued to try for new things, where this is where you have left the Beach Boys for a period. You're on a leave of absence.
Yeah, I'm on a leave now. I want to create new music and put some more positive energy back into it. And the guys are into doing the show, and that's really kind of all they want to do at this time. And so I'm gonna concentrate on writing and performing and learning how to sing better and exercise that muscle. It's the same principle as somebody who works out or somebody who studies. The more you do that thing, the better you can do it.
That's right.
Real simple.
Just recently, the Beach Boys came through Rochester, and it was quite evident that although the crowd might have been pleased by hearing a lot of the old tunes, there was nothing new, and the vocals were not very strong, which was quite surprising. Bruce Johnson was with him too, and I thought that he would be able to pick up a little of the slack, but it wasn't so.
Yeah. Well, after seeing that, my main comment after seeing that July 5th thing from Long Beach was that a rehearsal would really help. It's just because we all know how to sing. Everybody knows the songs and how to play them and do them. It's just a matter of rehearsing them and refocusing on what the proper parts are, the correct parts rather. A really amazing thing happens when you do a live show, when people are really familiar with your music and have heard it many, many times. When you're performing that song, as they hear it, their minds correct it.
That's right.
It's really a phenomenon.
A show in person is, if you're there, you think it was the best thing that you ever heard, and you might hear a tape back of that someday and wonder, you'd say, gee, that wasn't the music that they were playing tonight. They were much better than that.
Yes.
But, I think that the people who did see the show here in Rochester enjoyed it. If they were Beach Boys fans, they heard a lot of the oldies. The critics, of course, cut it down a little bit because there wasn't anything new, and they're looking more at the way the result of the show came out. But I know that people enjoyed it here in Rochester. It's just that it could be much better.
Beach Boys shows are real fun show.
Sure,
I love doing that.
Beach Boys music is fun music.
It's very pure kind of music, actually. It has a very innocent, childlike quality to it. It's really neat.
Right. Now you have a new album out, and you are continuing ahead.
Yeah, after we got back from Europe last summer, it was real clear that the guys weren't, into doing a record before the end of the year, and I just decided right on the moment to go for it. and to make a record.
What
And
does
it
he
was a
have?
little bit shaky at first. I felt a little bit funny about working with so-called strangers before I did it, because I've always worked with my family.
Mm-hmm.
But that all just kind of dissolved right in the process of making the music.
But even in this album, the family continues because there are some ballads in there that are very much along the lines of the Beach Boy music.
Yeah, Heaven, I think, is the most Beach Boy sounding.
Right. Currently
one with the harmonies.
Doing well for you, too.
Yeah, that's great.
Right, and you've collaborated on all the tunes with Myrna Smith.
That's right. Myrna wrote the lyrics to all the songs and some melody also. She's great to work with. She has the ability to be real on target with the lyrics. They really apply.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very good. Now tell me a little bit, going back into the earlier 70s, tell me about Carl and the Passions. How did that album come about?
Well, the title came, Brian told somebody one time in an interview that we had a group called Carl and the Passions, which is totally untrue. It was just a joke. Brian was just putting somebody on, and it's just it seemed like a real silly title, and so for lack of a title, that's what the album was called.
I see.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that title.
About the time I had to fill in for his friend in high school, because his friend chickened out, and so I had to learn to do the background part. I was the only really little child in the group, and they were all, I was 5 years. They were just in high school.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's back in the old Kenny and the Cadets day. Way
Before,
early.
pre-Kenny and the Cadets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any Kenny and the Cadets records?
I have Barbie. I guess it's the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's Brian, my mom, and me.
Is that really?
Uh-huh.
Now we heard there was a next door neighbor, some next door neighbor, and Al on that one too. Is that true?
Well,
or?
David Marks could have been on it. He lived
No, he
across the street.
didn't mention David Marks, who would have been a logical one, but
Yeah.
somebody Whittington or somebody like that.
Oh, Bob, maybe? No, Whittington. I don't connect with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember the name. It's been a while since I checked that. But no, I remember doing a little research, and we wondered who it was, and we understood it was your mom, which is kind of interesting. That's kind of neat. So
fun.
Brian was always creating back in those
Always,
days.
yeah. He was really quite amazing. Even at 12, he made very complicated, complex vocal arrangements.
Mm-hmm. Did you have
came naturally
ideas that you wanted to write in the 60s, and were they held back by the fact that Brian's name was on most of the records?
No, that wasn't a consideration for me. I've never pushed the issue with the guys ever.
Mm-hmm.
I of course was aware that he was writing some really good stuff, and when the group evolved into really knowing what it was doing after just making a few records, and Brian, the music really got really artistic for that point in time, what was kind of going on generally. No, I just knew that a tune was going to come when it was going to come. I never pushed it. I never effort in songwriting.
The music, you can just listen to your own records. You go from Surfin' to Surfin' Safari to Surfin' USA to You're So Good to Me, and you keep going further and further. And there's it's hard to believe when you put Surfin' next to one of the things from 65 or 6, Good Vibrations, incredible tune. And then it got even better. I felt that some of the things like Wild Honey and Darlin' were great too, and yet they didn't get received as well.
Well, yeah, I think a couple of our favorite albums are Sunflower, which didn't really go anywhere. I don't think on a big scale. really fine album, and Surf's
Up. Incredible album.
Yeah, good work.
But not as received, I guess, because people were still looking for that same Beach Boys sound and didn't want the Beach Boys to create. That's the only thing I can think.
Well, I think that the spirit was different in that. I mean, there's energy on it, but I think it's a different. It's not the same kind of spirit that's on the earlier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different.
Some great tunes, though. Throughout the years, the Beach Boys have been known for their great tunes, and you continue to go forward as a solo. Hopefully, you will.
That reminds me, it was a wish of Jim Guercio and myself during the recording of this album that we'd encourage the guys back into the studio.
I hope you do.
Yeah, and I wanted to. I hope we do too.
Because we know that those minds collectively are just amazing, and I'd like to see it continue through the 80s and the 90s.
Well, gosh, thanks.
Why not? Thank you very much for coming by, Carl.
Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate it.